Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan, astrologer and life coach, and I'm coming to you today to give you some information on the next 2 weeks and the next month. We have a new moon on the 20th of July in the fertile water sign of Cancer, and always new moons usher in a new lunar cycle, and the lunar cycle is always a month. So at new moon, that's when we plant new seeds and set new intentions for the month ahead. Then what happens is the moon waxes until full moon in 2 weeks' time, and then she starts to wane to the next new moon, which will obviously be in the next sign. So this is a follow-on really of the eclipse that we had, the last new moon eclipse on the 21st of June. We are discussed this theme, the themes of this in quite a detailed way. This is a different energy, but it's the base energy, the foundational energy is the same. So what is new moon? New moon means the sun and the moon are at the same degree of the same sign. And then what we do is we draw up a chart to see what else is happening at the start of this new moon cycle, because then that carries through for the remainder of the month. So the basic focus of this is in Cancer. So that's where we focus our energy. And Cancer is a cardinal water sign, which I went into in quite a lot of detail when I went through the eclipse, which you can always revisit on my YouTube channel. So new moon in Cancer is always related to issues around family, issues around home, issues around feelings. Cancer is the sign of feelings. It's a sign of nurturing. The symbol of Cancer is the crab, but it's also the symbol of the breasts, mothers giving birth and feeding their babies. So what is this cycle about? Well, first of all, we don't just have the new moon. The new moon is opposite the stellium, or the three planets that I've been talking about a lot over the last few months, which are all in Capricorn. So we've got in Capricorn at the moment, we've got Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And this is sort of the energy that is set up this year for us, those three planets moving through the sign of Capricorn, which is happening for most of the year. Now, this new moon is directly opposite that stellium, or that group of planets. It's at the same degree, but opposite Saturn. And they're very different energies. So if you look at the moon is about nurturing, nourishing, feeling, softening, appreciating, being. It's a sort of it's quite gentle, it's strong, but it's quite gentle. It's flow, it's water. So new moon in Cancer is a very fertile time. It's a very good time to nurture yourself, to nurture others, to get together with family, to show them that you care, to nurture your creative hobbies, to give your plants a love, to cook up a beautiful meal. It's very much about home. It's about family. It's about finding your inner home. And the way I like to see Cancer as a sign is it's related to the crab. And the crab basically carries his little home on his back. So what we're learning with this Cancerian energy, which has been a major theme in the last year, actually, I won't go into the details of that, but it's a major theme because the nodes of the moon have actually been in Cancer as well. So the theme of it is nourishing, nurturing, family, and all those things. But more than that, for me, it's about finding your inner home. So if you watch a little crab in a rock pool, if you throw a little piece of bread in, the little crab will come out sideways, a little bit indirect, won't go straight for it, it'll come out to the side, grab a little piece of bread and it'll go under its rock. It's quite private and it has its house, it carries its house with it. So the lesson that Cancer offers us is to carry our home with us. In other words, our home is within us. It's not outside of us. Okay, so that's the focus. Then in opposition to that, we have Saturn at the same degree, but in an opposite sign of Capricorn. Saturn and the energy of Capricorn are very similar. So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn in Capricorn has a very, very strong Capricorn energy. And then strengthening that even more, we have Jupiter and Pluto very close by. So what does that do? Well, it sort of takes our attention away from home and it takes it out to the world. So what's happening in the world? Um, what are our goals? How are we going to survive? How are we going to earn a living? Looking at the suffering that we see around us. Looking at trying to see into the future, which many of us can't do right now. And that takes us kind of away from the sense of beingness that we have in our inner home. So it's kind of a pull away from it, if you like. It's also the energy of restriction. So whatever Saturn touches, he's the lesson giver, actually. So Saturn teaches us lessons. He shows us where our fears are. He shows us where our restrictions are. He shows us where we restrict ourselves, where we criticize ourselves or other people. So when it's connected to this new moon, he might throw up things like old conditioning about family, old conditioning about nurturing, old conditioning about how you deal with emotions, your sense of safety, your sense of home. And with that, apart from bringing it out so that we can actually look at it, which is the positive side of it, with that we can sometimes feel restricted, almost like we're being pulled and blocked to moving forward with what we need to do to nurture, with our sense of home, with our sense of family, and with our goals. So just be aware that there might be a restrictive sort of energy there. It can feel a little bit harsh. And with Jupiter and Pluto standing quite close by, it is quite an intense time. So the way I see this polarity and the next month is aligning with our true home, which is inside, not outside. It's not out there. Our true security, which is another Cancerian Capricorn theme, doesn't lie in the world. Our true security lies in the present moment, in right now, actually. That's all we really have, is this moment. And to bring appreciation and nourishing and nurturing to this moment, rather than projecting into the future, which can send us into a bit of a spiral of fear. So when we find ourselves spiraling into that, what's going to happen is to bring ourselves back and look at how we can nurture and nourish this moment. So just noticing a bird in a tree, noticing the sunlight coming in through the window, really noticing and watching a flower, nourishing yourself through drinking a beautiful cup of tea, but really focusing on it, not worrying about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, which is this energy that's sort of pulling us away from who we really are in a way. And the way that we can stop that from happening is to be more present, to notice it when it happens. So it's a great time to show appreciation, show nourishing, nurturing for this moment, and see the gift in this moment. That's the real home. That's what never changes. So that's the kind of the energy for now and for the next couple of weeks. It's a good idea to ground yourself, because there's quite a lot of energy around. So get out into the sunshine if you can. Put your feet on the earth, in the earth. Sit and watch, or just lean against a tree and feel the energy of Mother Earth. Be compassionate to yourself. Be compassionate to others. People are struggling at the moment. We also have quite a lot of big fiery energy around, complements of Mars in Aries, and he's been right next to Chiron, which is the wound. So the wound of anger and rage and aggression has been coming up quite a lot in the world, for many people individually, as they feel themselves being restricted, as they ask questions and don't get any answers. So that's up at the moment. And it's for us to just see that the discord, the confusion, the anger, the aggression does not have to be something that we have to actually be involved in. So we can be in the world, but not of it. It doesn't have to define who we are. We don't have to buy into the fear and feed the fear. In fact, the very opposite. We need to feed softness and gentleness and empathy into the world, not fear, not harshness. So not to feed the energy of harshness, because it can be quite harsh. I think that we'll see a lot more discord in the next few months. Mars is going to be in Aries for 6 months, which is very, very unusual. It's usually in a sign for about 2 months. It takes 2 years to go around. So this is a very, very long journey of Mars in Aries. And in its journey, he's going to be squaring those planets in Capricorn until kind of the end of the year. He only moves sort of on in January out of Aries. So I think we're going to see a lot more coming to the surface. I think we're going to see a lot more fighting out there in the world. And it's for each of us to find ways and to really use the tools that we've developed over the years to bring ourselves into the presence and not to feed it. Because the more we feed it, the bigger it grows. And we don't need to do that. On the positive side of Mars and Aries, it can give us the kind of get up and go, to actually get new projects off on the go. It gives us a certain amount of courage. Mars is very strong in Aries. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. It wants to go, it wants to move forward. And so it's a good time to actually get those projects going, even if you can't do it in the outer world yet, is to actually start to set intentions to start to bring them to life, even if it's just into the planning phases, if you can't make them happen outside. So for the next month, just watch your conditioning, watch your sense of looking at the glass half empty, which tends to also be a Saturn thing, can be a little bit pessimistic. You know, this should be like this and it's not, which means that I feel restricted and limited and closed. And just notice how that feels, and notice how it feels when you stop complaining, when you just say it is as it is, and this is what I can do in this moment. It completely shifts the reality, as opposed to looking outside and trying to change that, because right now we can't do that really. We can only do what we can do in this moment. And I think that by doing that, the more of us that can do that, the more of us that can soften and really appreciate this moment, appreciate each other, show each other that we appreciate each other. Reach out to someone that needs help. There are a lot of people that need help right now. A lot of people are lonely. You know, the Saturn is limiting the Cancer family. People are not seeing their family. Older people are not able to see their family. So reach out, keep in touch with those people. They really need it. There's a sense of great loneliness for people, not only old people, for people that live on their own, that are feeling very isolated. So just see if you can reach out. If you aren't feeling that, see if you can reach out. And even if you are feeling that, it can actually help you to move out of that state as well, if you reach out to somebody else. So that's my little tuppence worth. This process of transformation carries on. We're still moving through it. Things are still unclear. And just to keep putting that taproot down into something that's more real and more eternal than the shifting sands of this crazy world that we live in. Yeah, so that's it from me. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And if you would like to book a reading to have a look and see where this is playing out in your chart, you're most welcome to. And have a look at journeysofawakening.com. We have another Journey to Freedom course coming up. And we've got some exciting plans that we're about to launch there as well. So you're very welcome to join our WhatsApp group, which is on our Journeys of Awakening page. It's journeysofawakening.com. And if you join the WhatsApp group, it's basically a broadcast group. So we'll just put out anything that we are doing on that WhatsApp group so you can be kept informed. We still do our weekly satsang, which is just a time when we get together and we chat about the energies and we chat about different subjects, and we take you through an intro meditation and an out meditation. So you're welcome to join us. That's on Facebook Live every Sunday night. So we hope to see you there as well. Look after yourself, nurture yourself, take care of yourself, love yourself, and love those around you too. Lots of love.